Hello YouTube, iFixItAll here, Team iFixItAll, and I need a microphone. Hang tight. Okay, I'm back. I wanted to share with you a little technique that I learned about. I just started doing this a couple of years ago. I noticed that I would have new squashes popping up and the two leaves would pop up, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then all of a sudden, I thought they died off or they're just gone. It's because birds are coming in while they're tender and snipping them off, flush to the ground, and eating them. So if you have pets and you have cans, you cut the bottoms and the top out and you protect that particular vegetable until it gets to a point where it's no longer a tender two-leafer and starts to get jagged and all that. Give you an example of what I got going on up here in the tater slash squash patch. Got me a nice beet row here. Got another long beet row with peas, but anyway. Here are the two leafied guys I'm talking about. Here's a Hubbard that hasn't popped yet. Deeply recessed. Notice when I put these cans in, I'll dig the ground out. I'll put the can in, then I'll drop my seed, and I'll put some homemade topsoil in there. But these, when the squash is in this state right here, there's two in there. That's when birds will come along and just eat them off, you know, blue jays especially. This one's starting to get a little bit mature. This one's getting mature, but it's still not jagged leaf. This one's starting to go to jagged leaf. See what I'm talking about? So, they're real tender and yummy for the birds at this stage of the game. So, I'll leave those as long as I can, but the idea is you use these old cans, you dig out your hole, you kind of squish the can in there, and you're putting the seed in the can way below grade. Like the elevation of this ground here is here, but my seed and sprout is like 3 or so more inches down below grade. And what ends up happening is when I extract the can gently, I'll pull soil up around the stalk of the plant, and that establishes the root base to be extremely deep, so that in the hot seasons the roots are still chilly and cool and able to get to tap water instead of being up on the surface and up high. I have lots of cans up through here. That means these cans are busy protecting something. Got cantaloupe, watermelon, 2 rows of zucchini right there. I've got 2 rows of acorn and 2 rows of Hubbard. All right, so over here I have a little bit of a nursery going on. I'm going to focus heavy this year on brassicas, the broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and kohlrabi. And I've let this little nursery sprout out here. Like these are some older ones that seem to have a nice little jump start, but they're still in their can. I could probably remove the tin can and I'll just store them right in my raised garden bed in every little crevasse that I have. You see all the openings? I'll store these cans just like that. Everywhere there's a little opening, I'll just drop cans in there. And they'll just drop in and stack neatly. I probably have several dozen. Got some cans right here, bigger can varieties. These are guarding last year's carrot, because we left a huge one in right here. We left a huge one in right here. I'm waiting to see if it comes back or not. And if it does, it'll go to seed. That's generally what happens with a lot of things. Got some onions coming up, doing good. So here's some, now that I've got this little nursery here happening, I'm going to choose to, since this little rectangle here is dedicated to cabbage, I won't disturb these guys. I'm leaving them. But I will owe it 1, 2, 3 more cabbages. This row here is cauliflower, and the pattern is supposed to be like a checkerboard. 1, 2, 1 in the middle, and then 4, 5. So it's spaced out well enough. I got tomato on the back row back there to grow up the hoop. But my chore here is to extract this broccoli out of here. Well, I could grab any random one, but I'm going to go for a bigger one. Watch what happens. If you do this can method, you can just extract the whole guy out. Just like that. And carry him over to where you need. And I'm walking really slow. I only have one hand, so congratulate me if I'm successful. Oh my goodness. Alright. I'll set him down right here temporarily. Slip him off. Yeah, I can do that. It's like it didn't even know it got moved. So there's a broccoli that I've already moved. I've left some eggplant or pepper plant root in the ground because pepper plants are perennials, and if I think that's eggplant, but I'm experimenting to see if the root base stayed alive and it shows sprouts. I haven't researched if eggplant comes back a second year or not and how it seeds. Let me dig the ground out here. And I'll drop him in. Put some dirt around him. And voila. And push it down a little bit. I'll probably be pulling this can off real soon. It's got to go. But anyway. Little cans to protect your brassicas or your squashes, and especially your beans. I've got beans popping somewhere. Where are you at? There we go. Over there. Purple pole beans. So I'm really surprised that the birds haven't invaded yet, but I got beans popping, and I expect one to be there. I've spaced these out pretty close and pretty tight. There's beans popping up all the way up through there. So there's a few holes here, but I'm not going to be impatient. We'll see what pops. So my layout here is this outer row is kohlrabi, and then the rest of this bed, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the same, is cauliflower. And I've been watching these cans to see if any cauliflower is sprouting, and I'm getting kind of concerned. There's one, and then there's two. I believe that's cauliflower. I'm going to have to wait on it. Normally your brassicas pops up like 2 hearts, 2 leafied hearts. So that's probably just a weed. But then there is a 2 little leafied heart guy right there. A lot of this stuff really took a while to pop. This bed here is also cauliflower. And looks like nobody's home there. Nobody's home there. It's just a little weed, but I'm not going to get impatient. Here's a little baby kohlrabi way back in your 3 o'clock position there, and then down to your 5 is a little weed on that. Anyway, the idea here is save your tin cans. You can protect from birds in the early days of your sprouts. All of my brassicas have been direct sown, and I direct sowed them probably second week of April. So these are about going on 3 weeks old. I got to move the rest of this broccoli over to new designated broccoli zones. And I think that's the end of this video. I think that's it. Use your tin cans to protect your squashes and or new sprouts. I do have a nursery of green peppers because, again, if you want to start green peppers, you got to kind of wait. Peppers don't really like any kind of coolness. So I've set myself up with peppers, green peppers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of a whole crap ton of seed. Everything I've grown this year is from my own seed, from seed that I collected from last year's and the year before's vegetables. So everything going on that you see, including my Hubbard and acorn squash, zucchini, watermelon, and cantaloupe up there, is from last year's seed. God willing, it looks like we're going to have a gangbuster fruit year. I hope. Also, I have a couple of several potters back here. Pots or little flats, what have you, plastic flats that have plants that I've yet to set out. A couple of jalapenos popped. Can't tell if any of that cabbage popped. That's almost empty. That's almost empty. And believe it or not, I've got a couple of apple trees from some seeds that I plucked from Granny Smith apples. So that's wonderful. And then I had 6 cherry seeds because the wife and I were down at the lake, and the cherries were on. We stopped on the way into town and stopped and got ourselves a handful of cherries, and we saved the seeds, and I put them in an envelope in the refrigerator. And I've got these 6 seeds set out. I'm waiting for something to pop, but in the meantime, something happened. I mean, what do you do about this? This dirt, I have no idea where these came from, but it looks like it's a sunflower seed right there. And I know there's a cherry pit in there. So I had this labeled as cherry trees, hoping these cherries would sprout. And so far I've gotten 2 sunflower. I've got a few sunflower plants already planted. So I don't know what to do. I need to set these out somewhere where the sunflower can grow, but also mark it with possible cherry tree as well. Because I can't keep these poor little sunflowers contained in that little potter that long. I've got my neighbor, his sweet tater plants, they're itching to jump in the ground. There's 9 there, and he's going to have more. I've got some eggplant that I've got to put out. I don't know what that is. And the stick says green pepper, but I doubt it. And as a contingency, I have more Brussels sprouts, more kohlrabi, more cauliflower, more broccoli, and more cabbage set out in these flats, hoping to get some poppers. I just sprinkled the seed in there and put some good topsoil with chicken manure in there. And if anybody pops, my goal is to grow a lot of brassicas. We have a whole lot of your regular stuff put up already, like your corn and your tomatoes and your everything else you can imagine, green beans and yada yada, but not a lot of cauliflower and broccoli and Brussels. So, alright guys, you take her easy. See ya.